That's us.
Oh, what's going on, my people? Welcome to another episode of Talking Black with Muck and Killer. It's your main man, Muck the Empath, along with my boy Killer, the Conscious King in the house. What it do, my brother?
Hey man, just trying to increase my awareness, my brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, that's what we're here for. This is the Muck and Killer Talking Black podcast. Uh, this is where we come, black people can talk straight to black people about being black, the trials and tribulations of the African American in this country and the Africans across the diaspora. This is a place that we come and we talk about different issues that are affecting the black community and try to come up with some solutions that'll benefit us all and the world at large. So we welcome everyone that's here. We are streaming live from the Media Room 360 app. You may be catching us on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or Roku. Either way, we welcome you and we thank you for joining us on this late Friday night. TGIF to everyone out there as well. But like I said, this is a show where we want to dig into the real issues of black people being black. So join the conversation. You can. We'd love to see your comments and feedbacks on the topics that we discuss here, and hope that everybody's enlightened and really gets benefit out of the conversation and not just the entertainment. We want to really entertain our people and let them know what's going on. So souls have to be saved, man, and we know that we're all dealing with issues. And I think this is just a great platform for us to come together and talk about those issues and see if we can come to some solutions. So again, thank you everybody for being here. Let's get into it, Killer.
Yes. You are tuned into the latest edition of the Muck and Killer Talking Black podcast, where we discuss elements of our current events and share stories of our trials and that we turn into our triumphs. Today we're having a conversation on the topic of war. Last week we talked about war as well. This is the second final show in the season. We've done 10 shows, and we want to give you an opportunity to go back through the shows, take a look at what we talked about, the 9 areas of people activity, which are economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, religion, politics, sex, and war and or conflict. We're again having our second show on this topic of war, and let's get into it. This is a hot topic because it's really the catalyst that you see in all different areas of activity more often. Yeah. The conflict that happens in education, where people are getting access to resources other people are not. This disparity in education. All those things.
You're right, man. War is what all the 9 areas are set up to really avoid the bloodshed, and that's nobody really wants to get hurt physically. You know what I'm saying? So we play politics. It's relationships driven, because at the end of the day, nobody truly wants to go to war, like a physical bloodshed. I don't think anybody, unless it's just you do have a mindset out there that is like that, but the majority of people don't want to be involved in a bloody war. So it's a topic that we need to discuss, because we got to understand exactly how we get to that point. How does a country or people or anybody get to the point of war where they willing to kill each other over what? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's very fundamental to what we're doing. We've got to understand what it is and how you get to that point. If you don't know those, it's hard to avoid it. It's like, if you don't know what you're trying to sidestep, it's hard to avoid it. So,
well, let's define it. Let's make sure that we have a good foundation here. So going back to Neely Fuller, and the reason why we use Neely Fuller is because he's been studying this topic of racism, white supremacy, the longest in our present, history.
Yeah.
And so, he's got a lot of data around this topic. It's not just us trying to, share with you, oh, the boogeyman's out here. No, it's an actual phenomenon that takes place between the relationship amongst different cultures.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So when you understand that there's two different cultures here, you got the African culture, you got the Western culture, you got the Eastern philosophy, you got all these different
Western philosophy. Yeah.
Yeah, you got all these different frames of reference.
Yeah.
You got all these different perspectives.
Yeah.
That don't come together. And so Neely says, as long as white supremacy exists, always think, speak, and act as if you're in a battle zone. People, white or non-white, may do you bodily harm at any time, any place. Do not think that any place in the known universe is safe. Right? And so he says, at all times, do your best to be prepared to fight or to flee unjust attack, and danger in the form of injustice and or incorrectness. Exists every place in the known universe. And then he goes on to talk about some other things. But that's a pretty clear, definition.
Yeah. So basically he's saying, man, you're basically, you need to treat this as if you're at war every minute of the day that you're interacting. I mean, that you get up from time you get up to the time you go to bed. That's soldier mentality. I mean, that's like if there's a soldier that's out there in a battlefield in Afghanistan or Iraq or anywhere we just sent kids off to, right? They got to be thinking like that in order to get back home. So it's the people that you just wouldn't walk blindly out in the open on a known battlefield. So it leads me to believe that there's a lot of Black people that don't realize this is a battlefield, or they don't have the tools to sidestep and they haven't been trained properly at how the war is being fought. So it's either people that don't believe we're at war, or the people that have been miseducated about how our opposition is fighting this war.
Don't believe and miseducated. What else?
And or not patient, or they're with the enemy. They're on the side of the enemy.
They capitulated to
They capitulated to.
Hey, I'm join white supremacist struggle.
If you can't beat them, join them.
Right. You can't beat them. We're not gonna be able to beat them. And that's true though. I mean, right now the evidence suggests that we're not beating anybody.
No.
Any stretch of the imagination. I mean, regardless of our physical prowess that we show in the area of entertainment. And a few other areas, but mainly entertainment. You don't see any major changes in education. You don't see many major changes in our socioeconomic situation. You don't see any changes in the labor laws protecting, because I mean, if you look at the unemployment rate, obviously African Americans have a higher unemployment rate than our counterparts. So, incarceration rates, all of these phenomenon, and that's law, right? I mean, labor, religion. I mean, you have masses of African Americans who believe in ideology that has not translated to the upliftment of their quote unquote race. If you hold accountable our religious practices as a collective, what does that actually equate to in our reality? Does it help Black people grow and outdo their past? Not the numbers don't say so.
At this point. So but you make a good point as you go through that. When we say that we're at war, people immediately believe that there's guns and there's soldiers and there's tanks and people, there's soldiers. But like we said last week, a quote from Fred Hampton, politics is war without bloodshed, and war is politics with bloodshed. So the politicking that we do, if we look at our economic situation and you compare it to the white, Black, Asian, Hispanic, because they do that. I ain't make this up. So we talking about white supremacy ain't real. We split everything up by race that we chart. That's not us. That's not me saying. That's how we do it in this country, right? So obviously, the races matter.
Somebody's keeping track.
Yeah, somebody's keeping track of which race is winning and which race is losing. And when we go and look at the all of the results, all the negative, we're at the bottom on everything that's negative. Everything. Oh, we're at the top of everything that's negative. We're at the bottom of everything that's positive. You see what I'm saying? So that's a form of war that we're being attacked politically, economically, religiously, sexually, in the entertainment industry, by the law, by the labor. Every one of these fields of activities, we are under attack.
Right.
By somebody believe that whiteness is
outside forces.
Outside forces. So, and that's when you're in war, you got to understand that, okay, where my enemies are trying to attack at? Where are they trying to come at me? And when we start looking down at those, every area where we're interacting with white people, there's an imbalance there. They're everywhere.
Right.
Everywhere where we living together at, it's an imbalance. So you got to start saying, okay, well, why is this happening? And what is happening? What is actually happening here? Are we as a people so dumb that we got to be failing all the tests? Like, why do we, is there something wrong with us? You see what I'm saying? We either ask these questions or is something's happening to us. And either way, we need to figure it out.
Well, you have to be able to get the 360.
Yeah.
You got to be able to see all the different, what's in front of you, what's behind you, what's to your right, and what's to your left. And that'll give you the full 360. And I think that because of our training and exposure to westernized thought and being dominated by that Western thinking, we have inadvertently supplanted, which means we've exchanged our true nature for the plan of another culture.
Yes. Yeah.
And we're not being true to ourselves in the process, which causes dysfunction.
Yeah.
Which causes, questions, which cause confusion when you don't get answers to those questions.
Yeah.
Which then causes frustration and anger.
Yeah.
So we are angry people because of the confusion that we find ourselves in.
Yeah.
And we don't have the proper insight to correct our spirit.
Yeah.
Because we have good intentions as Black people, but the challenge is we believe in things that are not true, which lead to that question, which leads to that confusion, frustration,
and anger.
These are the stages that we're going through as a people. So guess what? When you're confused, you don't trust nobody. You want to do everything on your own.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? These behaviors keep you constrained. These are the chains in which you find yourselves in.
Yeah.
All wounds are self-inflicted, as one of our good friends always says. And so, if we don't do gap analysis, if we don't do ratio analysis, if we don't do gain a comprehensive understanding of what and who we are as a people, and that's why we talking Black, right?
Yeah.
Because we're trying to say, hey, look, this is what's really missing. It's the false thinking and the lack of the amount of deception, confusion in this world we live in that leads us to, being defeated overall.
Yeah. So you think of any non-area, and Neely says this, and I can't see any holes in his argument so far, except for I see, and he'll always preface it like he's saying he doesn't say that he's right and this is a way. He's just saying this is what's happening. We need to figure out a way. And then he kind of leaves it open, which I like. He's like, hey, what I'm telling you obviously hasn't worked because we haven't practiced it, or if we had, then there would be no white supremacy. Obviously, nobody's come to a conclusion, a definite answer about what it is or how to defeat it, because we're still under it, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at every single area, man, it's kind of heartbreaking to just see the L's we taken. You know, like education, labor, the unemployment rate highest in the Black community. Law, mass incarcerations of millions of Black men. That's an L we taking. Economics, we got a negative net worth as a people, in a sense. What is the net worth? I know it's like 8 times under a white person's income, right?
Well, yeah. The average household income of a family, of a Black family, is about $80,000 or $60,000, between $60,000 and $80,000.
Yeah.
But the average income for a white family is like $150,000 to $200,000. So those disparities do make a good point for you in realizing what's really happening, because nobody wants to talk about the real issue.
What's really happening? Yeah.
Yeah, is that you were taking the L. You know what I mean? Like, Neely's got 3 points that I want to illustrate right now that I think are critical to us waking up in a sense around our issue. And he says the main purpose of his book is directed to the individual.
Yeah.
And offering them these victims of white supremacy, racism, suggestions as to what they should or should not do in each area of activity.
Yeah.
That's entertainment, education, labor, economics, law, religion, sex, war, and conflict.
Yeah.
That's concept number. That's purposeful number 1. Number 2 is we live in a codified network where people use codes to just express their power in those 9 areas of activity. They're looking to dominate others within the system, right?
Yeah.
And then 3, supporting data. African Americans, Black people as a collective, should develop a code of their own.
Yeah.
Of justice. That means no one is mistreated, and those who need the most help receive it constructively.
Yeah.
And when we focus on that as a priority, then what is revealed is a new reality where that actually does exist, where people aren't getting killed.
Yeah.
Like, but we gotta be the champions of that purpose and create that code for ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So you check me out. I got my Ice Cube shirt on, man. Right? Back in the 90s. This hip hop we grew up. But one thing of Ice Cube, one of the best songs is Today Was a Good Day. Right? That is one of my all-time favorite songs. And it makes you feel good. But you get this sense that we all got, knowing that he was in South Central Los Angeles. The fact that he went a whole day and didn't know brother get smoked made the whole, we all felt that.
Right.
I felt, nigga, that's a great day, because we didn't have nobody out there falling, man, whether it was by the cops' hands or by our own hands. That's a great day every day that shit happens. But, man, we ain't had no day like that in so long, man. Like, if it ain't cats in Dallas, it's niggas in Atlanta or somebody, and some brother, New York and the Bronx, somebody right there, nigga in the country in Alabama, somebody getting killed today. That's Black. You see what I'm saying? Like, we gotta stop this, man. We gotta stop it. And
yeah. That's true, but we gotta commit to being disciplined about our change and
Yes.
being truthful about our journey.
Yeah.
You know, oftentimes we struggle with being truthful about our journey and just sharing the challenges we have and
Yeah.
how we made those decisions to take risk or not take risk. We
Yeah.
got to share that with our kids and get them prepared for the journey as well.
Yeah.
If we do a good job with preparing them, it'll make our lives easier as we get older.
Yeah.
So we need to think about pouring into them, children and the younger generation. That's why mentorship is important.
Yeah.
That's why financial literacy is important.
Yeah.
That's why, you know what I'm saying, owning a business is important. And if you don't have the resources to you know, come up with your own business concept, email Shani Scott because Shani Scott can help promote your business.
Yeah.
Right? Shani
Yeah.
Scott at Media Room 360. That's Media Room 3, the number 360.com. Email her. She'll help you promote your business.
Yeah. She is good with ideas of like we had this idea, we had this idea. But if you really want to get something done, you got to know somebody that knows how to get things done. And Shawnee is one of those type of people. And there's a lot of people out there like that. But when you know one, and they you use them as a good resource. But yeah. So
you know, before we get off that topic, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, me and you are here because we were ready to do something, and she was ready to do something.
Yeah.
And we brought some synergy. Now we done met so many great people.
Yeah.
Along this journey that are going to be pivotal in the change that's coming.
Yeah.
You know, we're growing this network. People are joining the platform. It's great. And there's got to be a place where you can get quality information to improve your situation.
Yes. Yeah. So you can have that code.
I'm writing that down.
If we're not, just like Neely says, if we're not communicating with one another, and we don't have a codified way to do that, then we're all trading on bad information, which makes, like you said, it makes the confusion. So that a lot of infighting is because we ain't got the right info, and that's part of war. That's part of war. Your enemy is not about to educate you on the rules of the game. You better figure it out. And that's where we at. We're expecting white people in a system that thrives on white superiority at these levels. We're expecting them to teach us how to win.
Right.
That'd be too much like fair.
That's like the roach giving you some roach spray.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna happen.
It don't make sense.
Yeah, nah. Yeah, that's like the roach giving you some boron, sprinkle around.
Yeah. Hey, rub this on my back a little bit. Hey, put a little on my neck.
Hey, could you hit me right over here?
Yeah, no, that's not happening. So we got to change our expectations and realize, we have to do this together. Those that are willing, those that are able, have to say, hey, we've got to do something. And this is not something that we need to be asking nobody. And I'm not saying anything negative about anybody that protests, because protesting is a form of warfare itself. So those people are battlers, and those people that go out and protest are battlers. But there needs to be some soldiers that after the protest, that the organization, the organizers organize some protesters, but we need to organize some soldiers.
Right.
As so we got to organize some soldiers in order to make sure that some shit gonna get executed. Because after the protest, what usually happens is, the representatives of the white supremacists will come with a peace offering, and we'll accept it. and we'll kumbaya.
Why is it? Let's talk about the psychology real quick of somebody who accepts money for favors. Quid pro quo. You know what I'm saying? You scratch my back, I scratch yours kind of mentality when there's a bigger concept at play that people are trying to implement so that Black people can have a sense of pride about their existence.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, the mentality of somebody that would take money over their integrity. Now, I'm not saying don't work for my own, but man, if you would do something for money that you wouldn't normally do, because it's against your code, but you'll break your code for some money, that type of individual cannot be trusted.
Man, you are so true.
They cannot be trusted, especially with a long range plan. You know, something that, like, at the end of the day, in order for us to advance, some of us are gonna have to sacrifice, and we're not gonna see the fruits of that investment. That's just the truth.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna have to lay down their energy so your great grandkids and my great grandkids will see this happen. We ain't gonna get to see it. It's a reality of it. And there's a lot of the person with that kind of mindset cannot see themselves without the fruits.
We're not 28. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're dealing with people,
if I knew now what I knew, if I knew this at 28, my whole trajectory would have been different.
No, yeah. I'll say this. In a sense, I think I've always known this, but as a young man, I knew the right things to do. But man, that feeling, them loins, that feeling of when you're a young man, that your sex will run a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
it makes that area of activity right there can really deter a lot of young folks. Yeah. So
from the championship.
And that's part, and this is what we don't see, man. That's part of the war. That's part of the attack. The way they show our young women, the way they treat young women in the media, and how they publicize and highly over sexualize our women is part of the warfare. I mean, niggas, we bragging about thoughts, man. I mean, at this point, hoes is on top. Like, the hoes in our culture are now the most celebrated. Like Cardi B, City Girls, you know what I'm saying? Like right now, Megan Thee Stallion, right now, they on top in our culture. They are on top of our culture. They're at an all-time high.
Wow.
Now, when I was coming up, now hoes was doing whole shit, but they was not speaking on it. That was something you only knew because your boys done told you because he was over there. It was not something that women talked about doing unless you was actually out there walking them streets on Harry Hines and getting his money in, because you was a real streetwalker. Wow. Other than that, just the casual everyday hoe was not necessarily gonna be promoted. But these days, they winning, man. They winning. They winning. And I get, if I look at it, I always talk about these kids in their generation, and we listen at what they saying. Listen at what Megan Thee Stallion saying. It's just outright nasty.
But hey, that's the funny thing. I'm tone deaf. I can't even understand and comprehend what they're saying. Right? So,
bro, hey, yeah. We grew up on Trina and Lil Kim, and they was just as bad, and I didn't know. I was like, when I'm listening to my kids listening to Megan Thee Stallion and them, and I'm like, I can't even believe they letting her say this. But when I go back and listen at Trina, oh man, they were saying the same type of stuff, even nastier.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we can sit around and talk about
more trashy,
more raunchy, man. We got to realize, man, look at the shirt I got on, man. Our generation was the first generation of gangster rap culture. And before that, we was polka dots and high top fades and dancing. When we came of age with the gangster thug mentality, and now it's starting to show in our kids. We surprised.
Those were the
yeah.
That's why they were trying to get you to not listen to that and listen to Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Exactly. But when you listen to Earth, Wind, and Fire and you dissect they wasn't talking about nothing no different. Sex and weed.
With the exception of Earth, Wind, and Fire, the elements, otherwise known as, those the reasons, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
But hey, Rick James and Michael Jackson talking about Billie Jean. I fucked the bitch, but she had my baby, and it ain't mine though. He said it wasn't his.
Yeah, I ain't claiming
it. But no, it's just like we got to really realize as a people, like what our imagery is being done to us. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, when we talk about the entertainment aspect of how they portray us in the media and how we even portray ourselves, that's, like I said, that's part of the warfare, man. If you can dehumanize somebody and make them seem like they are not worthy or less than, it's easier to get rid of that person. It's easier for somebody to shoot that person or mistreat that person, and for the masses to say, oh, they must have deserved it, right? So with that being said, we have to understand, listen, everything we do in society is going to impact us in a certain way. And not necessarily by us, because we understand what we're doing. You see what I'm saying? But it's the people that don't know Black people, that don't understand our culture, and they don't have a value. Only value they have is what they see of us in the media, and what we're displaying to the media about our culture. Leads us to believe that, hey, maybe they don't need a culture. You see what I'm saying? That's how you wipe a people out. You say that what they're doing is barbaric. Yeah, what they're doing is ghetto. It's uncouth. That's not good for the society. If you can just focus in on the negative aspects of our culture and just drill that in, then you can make a case of saying, well, Black people don't need to be here, because that's just what they're doing. What they're doing is negative. And that's part, like I said, that how we portray ourselves, we need to really pay attention to that, because that's part of the warfare.
When we think about white supremacy and its purpose, it's based on a foundation of fear, of genetic annihilation, but also its apparatus tries to confuse and deceive its host. So they're picking up root in our culture, and they're trying to tell Black people who they are.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, this is your history. This is who you are. But listen to, our stories and, that we tell you, so that you know what we want you to do for us.
Yeah.
And then from there, what happens is, if you want to gain favor, you're going to participate in the behaviors that I like, and then I'll trust you. And then, I'm going to go out on the back porch and into the, and play while you work in the business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Which is a different form of slavery.
Man, you said something.
So
you said something.
Yeah. My point is that people are being usurped. And when I say these terms, I'm not trying to be complicated. I'm saying that they're actually giving you the options that you're choosing from, in which controls your next step. So if somebody's telling you that, hey, I want you to go, build this property out here, that wasn't really your idea.
Yeah.
But you go do it, and then, it really helps them, doesn't really help you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was thinking about that the other day. Like, a life in the streets, because we got right now the streets, the voice of the streets are really what's the voice of our culture right now. And people don't understand, every nigga ain't come from the streets. You see what I'm saying? Like, you know, everybody, you can live in the ghetto and not be a part of the streets. A street is that's a different culture that they're running there. It's different in the street. A street life is different than a brother just getting up trying to make it every day, just trying to go the legal route. Them streets is trying to just make it. And when you get them brothers out there that choose a life of crime or a life of drug dealing, they don't realize they only had them option because that's the only option them folks gave you. So when you do that, they done already won. Like, when you decide to be a dope boy, you've lost at that point. No matter how much money you make, no matter how much clout you get in the hood, them folks got you on. Them feds already got you, so they know where you can go and where you can't go. So I'm saying, so
yeah,
it's
Malcolm X said it real good in a quote. He said, "A race of people is like an individual man until it uses its own talent, takes pride in its own history, expresses its own culture, affirms its own selfhood. It can never fulfill itself."
That's true. Yeah. You got to know you racing. We talk about war, man. So many different analogies.
You gotta know what's going on.
Hey, what's the purpose of a race? You know, no, I like a race. What's the purpose of having a physical, like a foot race? It's to see who the winner gonna be, right? And that's what this race is about. We're in a race, and the race is to see which race gonna come out on top. And if we look at if we take a snapshot of the 100-meter dash right now, we gotta see we behind. You know, and they say it's a relay race. So each generation is passing off to the next generation. And so, you know, we've had. Would you say that we've had a generation of people that have, that's been since slavery? I'm not talking about our historical people.
I think Generation X. I think it's 1960 to 1980. If you were born in between that 20-year span, you're on deck, right? It's your opportunity to shine. And meaning that, you know, you can get on the board, you can get in the line, you know what I'm saying? You can get involved in your community and make a change for the greater purpose.
Yeah.
We need more people that have that mindset. We need more people that, instead of thinking individualistically, they're thinking collectively.
Yeah.
And because, you know, if it's like buying an investment. If I buy one share and it goes up $10, I only make $10. But if I got 100 shares, and it goes up $10, now I got $1,000.
Yeah. So,
you know what I'm
saying? Exponentially, you know.
Right. Bro, that's growth.
That's growth.
And that's making sure you know where you need to put your dollars, where you need to focus your efforts.
Yeah. So let's talk about chess. Since we're talking about war, everybody out there gotta know me and Killer, we've been on chess, man, probably about a year, man. We got into playing chess real heavy. And if it wasn't for the pandemic and everything, I'd probably already been in my first tournament. And honestly, I'm not that good, but I'm just so intrigued by the game, man, because it's basically a war. It's a game of war. It's a board game of a physical military forces. So each piece, the pawns, the bishops, the knights, the rooks, the king, and the queen, they're all part of an army. You know, you got your infantry, you got your navy, you got, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how the game is set up. So when you learn how to really play the game, this concept of war started to make a lot more sense. And what I realized was that man, I don't know enough because I'm out here getting killed real quick playing this game with other people, you know. And I was like, I thought I knew how to play, because I knew how the pieces move, but I had no strategy and I had no tactics because I didn't really understand the fundamentals of the game, right?
Right.
So once we understood just not how the pieces move, but the real purpose and the fundamental steps that you must enact to achieve your goals. And then when I started to realize how my opponent was playing the game, that opened up a whole different thing for me. That was that emoji, that new emoji where the guy's head's blown, like it blew my mind. I was like, these folks playing on such a different level than we playing on. We got to get together, black folks, because these folks playing on a grandmaster level.
But bro,
white supremacy.
Yeah, not only that, right? So take everything you said.
Yeah.
It is a deliberate and intentional, very thoughtful act that's going on in our reality.
Yes.
People say and want to give credit to different deities or institutions or individuals, but ultimately it's everybody doing a certain thing. You're either a consumer or you're a conservator.
Yeah.
You know, the benefits that people get from investing are different than most people. So we got to make sure that we understand how, what side of, what part of what role we're playing in this economic and physical structure.
Yeah.
We're not always, mindful and aware of what's going on when we make certain decisions because we're thinking about our own individual issue and not a collective issue.
Yeah.
Collectively, we're on the bottom in the socioeconomic struggle.
Yeah.
And we can make better decisions collectively that can change the trajectory for everybody.
Yeah.
Because when you invest in something, yourself included, there's a return that comes with that. And because we're on the bottom, we have the greatest upside.
Yeah.
So that's just something to think about. In the area of war that we're talking about, we got to be mindful of how we maneuver, what our strategy and our tactic is. So getting back to that, let's
Yeah. So strategy it's this overall concept. It's basically your plan. What is the plan of attack? That's the strategy that you're going to come up with. We know the goal, like as in chess or whatever, the goal is to capture the other person's king. That's the goal of the game. That's the goal. Now you have to come up with a strategy that's going to allow you to do that. Now, the tactics are the individual move by move that you make to put your opponent in positions that's going to help you achieve your strategy. So when I set up my strategy and I know the game, and the best players in the world know 1,000 different openings. So when you start opening up your game plan, a grandmaster can recognize your strategy in 2 moves. Because he's, you know what I'm saying? They know how to come up with a counter based on 2 moves. Because they're playing the game out 30, 40 moves ahead. So they're thinking and they already know what the next 40 moves are gonna happen. That's a brain power and a skill that I didn't really I wasn't aware that anybody had, less known myself having that capacity to do that. And I'm not there. But I've seen myself
No, you're not.
Yeah. I'm a little further along than you are though, buddy. Yeah, but no, hey, I understood now that I can do four moves ahead. You see what I'm saying? So I know that that the more I play and the better I get, and the more things I've seen, the more I'll be able to anticipate the moves. And when you think about that, this is what the white supremacists have been doing. That's why their main thing is always to write stuff down and to chart stuff and to keep data and statistics and historical references, because that's how
Part
they
of the culture.
learn. That's part of their culture. They're planning to make 23 moves ahead. So when it looks like we're winning,
They 60 years ahead.
they 60 years ahead of us. And we're still trying to play for today with no strategy and
We
don't
talked
have a
last year. Shit.
yeah. So let's think about it. So I've kind of explained the basis of chess, right? So it's the capture your other person's king and you win. The
Right.
first king, right? So if we think about that in terms of people and nation, and we're talking about Black people as a people, that means a nation. We're a nation of people, right? And there's different tribes within every nation. You got the Black nation has the African Americans. We have the Jamaican Americans. We have the London. You got people from still on the motherland. You got Tanzanians. You got Ghanaians and Nigerian. There's we got a whole the Polynesians over there. Those are Black people, but they may be Samoan. They may be Fiji, whatever. They're all Black people. We just from a different tribe. Right, and then there's subtle differences in the cultures that we have based on our geography. Right, we have those kind of things going. European white people have a totally different makeup when it comes to a cultural and a physical body perspective because of where they're from. That's it. It's just like you spend a lot of time in the cold northern part of the Icelands, you develop a different sensitivity. So, which them being in those mountains and that ice for so long just made them think differently. We don't think from the same parts of our brains. Now, the longer we are with each other, the more we're going to be like each other. But the war is this. They want us to be more like them. We want to remain more like us. It's a cultural war that we're having. We're having a culture clash. And it's all different ways to try. These 9 areas are battlefields for a cultural war that we're having with European white Americans that they don't want to assimilate and we don't want to assimilate. Now, everybody that want to assimilate, they doing their own thing. And those are the people that's talking about ain't no racism. Everything's okay in the world because they've all said, hey, we just gonna mix together. And that's fine. But as certain people say, hey, yeah, I don't mind mixing as long as I bring my culture. Well, you can't bring your culture. Well, shit, we ain't mixing then. We can't be mixing. If I can't bring my culture, then we ain't finna do this. But that's what this is all about for me. When we talk about Black people, talking to Black people about being Black, it's about us maintaining and sustaining our culture as a people, and that's the battle. That's the battle we're fighting.
Yeah, who's gonna be the at the forefront of Black culture?
Yeah,
is it gonna be Joe Biden or?
Yeah. That's a good point, brother. That's a good point.
I'm not trying to get political, but I did. I realized I made a political statement, but that's not the point. The point is that who is going to lead the development of Black culture? Yeah. What is it going? What are the fundamentals? Yeah, and I think it's African history, biblical history, slavery. Those are the 3 experiences that Black people have had in this recent 400-year experience.
Yeah.
So if we look at that honestly, we can come to a conclusion that maybe we're not in the best position psychologically.
Yeah. At this point.
Yeah, maybe we went through a dehumanization experience, what they call a Mayafa, or a diaspora, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we had experienced that traumatized us to a sense that we can't make the best decisions in reality right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we're disoriented.
Yeah.
It's like a boxer that gets you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Gets the loose booty, right? He's out on his feet.
Yeah.
That's black people right now.
Yeah. And we got to understand what we're fighting for. As it concerns this war, this culture war. It's not only about culture, but it's the preservation of culture, which means you got to preserve the kids. So when we talk about the king in chess, the king is the king of our culture, and the heritage is our kids. And if we're not protecting them, then that's where we start. That's where we break everything down. If that's what they're protecting. They're shielding and protecting their kids from negative influence, and allowing them to grow and prosper and perpetuate their culture, because those kids have that, what I'm saying, white kids are in their own communities. They're being trained and reared in their culture, and any outside influence is being blocked. Right. That's how they're playing the game. That's how you play chess. You develop your kid. You develop around your kids and fortify that situation. And while you're doing that, you also need to be neutralizing the black pieces. The white pieces have to develop until they can castle the king, which means protect the king. That's the first thing you do before you go under attack in chess, which I didn't know that when we first started. I'm trying to rush over there and get their king.
Better protect your king.
Better protect your king first.
When you run to get my king, I'm plotting on getting yours.
You plotting. They plotting. So when we see, and we got to talk about this. When we see Trayvon Martin's happen, we see Breonna Taylor's happen. When we see they taking our kids off the board, man, that's because we ain't protecting them. That's that, and it's a cold lick that we gotta understand. But
campaign.
But we not protecting the kids.
It's a cold campaign.
And I want to say this: cop killing is a part of. I believe it's a part of the system. I do believe it's part of the system, and I don't think the cops are. A lot of them aren't aware that it's a system that they're participating in. You know what I'm saying? But we also got to look at this. Some of the activities in our communities, like I said, drug selling and pimps and hustling, are part of the bait that they use to get the police in our neighborhoods. So you say, I got to do what I got to do.
They propagandize first, and then now the stigma exists, the stereotype exists.
Yes.
And then they go into that fulfilling prophecy. We're gonna go down to the neighborhood. That's where they're doing that pimping and prostituting. Now let me go down there and
we got to patrol that area. We got to make sure they're not doing anything illegal down there that may hurt the citizens. You see what I'm saying? But so we gotta look at the actions that we're allowing to happen in our neighborhoods and in our communities, and realizing these activities are jeopardizing our kids in this situation. But
you said a whole word right there, boy.
Yeah, it is, man. But now the kids look at they looking at the dope boys. That's the only role models they got. So where are the really good black people that want to remain black and want to preserve the culture? Where are they as a role model to the kids that want to remain black? Because like I said, there's black people that don't really care about maintaining the culture. And that's their right. They really, hey, let's just have one American culture. And if it's all, let's do that. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. We're talking to black people that like being black.
Right.
And want to. I love my culture. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if I had to do this all over again and come back to this life and I got to choose, I'm choosing to be black again. Even knowing what I know about this situation, because it's just something about my people, man. It's just something about the way we do things as black people, the way we figured out this mess, and the way we surviving it right now. But we surviving in such style that it's making people think that we ain't in trouble. We in trouble, but we making it look too good, black people. We still got that soul with it. And you know what I'm saying? That's part of us being who we are. But we've got to sit back and take a real hard look at our state and say, hey, listen, we losing too many kids. We losing too many of our youngsters.
Right.
Our next generation over a bunch of bullshit.
For what?
Yeah.
Nah, man, that's what that is. We gotta. So it's preparation. You gotta be prepared. Read. Like Neely says, be in a position of preparation and make sure that you know what's going on.
You gotta know what your opponent's tactics are and their strategy. So as much as we talk about, black people, and we, you've got to understand what the motivation of somebody that would consider themselves a white supremacist is. You've got to understand what their mindset is and take an interest in that, because it's affecting you.
It's funny you say that, because Neely says the white supremacist racists collectively intend to practice white supremacy forever. Therefore, they will kill or help to kill enough non-white people to satisfy their need to have fun, but they do not intend to kill so many that no non-white people remain. They kill or help to kill enough non-white people so as to continue to enjoy practicing white supremacy.
Yeah.
White supremacist racists not only enjoy killing non-white people, but they also enjoy terrorizing, confusing, intimidating, brutalizing, depriving, and making fun of the weakness, stupidity, and ignorance of non-white people. White supremacists intend to do this forever.
Hey, bro.
Forever? Ever?
Hey, listen. When you say that, I was thinking about this. I was like, what's the purpose? Like, we're in such a bad state right now that if white people really just wanted to kill all the black people, they could do it easily. They could really do it because they control it. And they'll use black people to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got a military that we've seen kill people. We done seen the military kill students.
Bro, have you seen the information that just recently came out around Malcolm X's murder?
Man, I briefly, I didn't even dig into it because I'm like, it's got to be some bullshit. I mean, because why we, so tell me about it, though.
Well, basically, in a nutshell, the Federal Bureau of Investigation had something that influenced his murder. And the people that actually went to jail for the murder of Malcolm X, one of the guys wasn't even in the room. The guy that was in the room, they conveniently whisked him off. He was part of the FBI. He on his deathbed, he had his cousin reveal his involvement.
Yeah.
And so, this is a new discovery that just proves that black people are being infiltrated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you said at the beginning of the show, this is for black people talking to black people about black people, but we realize that it ain't just black people out there listening to what we have to say.
Yeah.
And if you want to go back and tell somebody what we said, we already know that's going to happen.
Yeah, you gotta expect it because they've been doing that for years. Everybody from Malcolm X to, man, I don't know if you've seen the Billie
Martin Luther
Holiday.
King,
Man, every FBI is
Billie
always
Holiday.
they always got a brother that they hire on the FBI to go in and infiltrate, and you think, you know what I'm saying? They be doing that. That's a part of the strategy. That's called recon. They send a
Yeah,
spy.
counter intel.
They send spies into Russia all the time to act Russian to
So
get the
there,
secrets. It's niggas out there that's up on you to make sure that if you got any ideas that's gonna help black people, that he can go back and tell them folks. But at the end of the day, it don't. If we all come together, it don't really matter if they know the strategy. That's one thing I learned about chess. When you got a strategy that you execute and all your pieces are in line, it don't matter when that they know your strategy. It don't even matter.
right? Because you got a fortified process.
You got a fortified process.
And it's based in the element of doing what's in your best interest now.
Yes.
But because if you don't realize what your best interest is now, you're going to lose.
Yes. Because you're gonna try to save a piece instead of sacrificing that piece. You're gonna try to save that piece for later, and you're gonna been put in a trap instead of make the move that you need to make right then. Trying to save something for later will get you killed.
And you know what? When you're able to execute that, you might finally beat me.
Whatever, man. I'm like white supremacists. I plan to practice beating you forever.
Yeah, you intend to dominate forever.
I'm dominating you forever on that chessboard.
But we next week. This is our last show. We're gonna be cycling our shows, so please go back and take a look at the last 10 episodes.
We're gonna do a recap show. We're gonna do a recap show too. And we want everybody to call in and kind of give us some feedback on the show. We have a dialogue and recapping season 1, man.
Right on.
But go back and watch the episode so y'all can chime in on the recap.
Yeah, let us know what you think, and make sure if you have a small business, you reach out to Shawnee Scott at Shawnee Scott SHANI Scott SCOTT at MediaRoom360.com.
That's what's up. For another good shot, man. Hey, thank you, black people. Y'all have a good one.
See y'all next week.